Okay. Alright, so it looks like it's running. It's actually running and nothing's going badly. Alright. Okay, so to finally wrap up session 3, which I know that's kind of sounding a little bit annoying. It's like, okay, wait, didn't we finish up 3? Well, we did most of it. The one thing I remembered going back to my old list is that 3 was also supposed to introduce condition statements. And that's all that I was still missing. So tonight we're covering conditional statements, and then making sure I have this working. Yes, there we go. Okay, and making sure we cover all of it today, or at least let's see if we can do see how much we can get covered between now and say 8:30. But okay, so let me fire up Visual Studio Code. Alright, so here we are, VS Code. Okay. So we had these original files, and now we are going to make another one called open folder. There. Alright, so we're going to make another folder for session 4 through 6. And in here we'll start with so let's just call this insurance1.py. Okay, so from other programming languages you've covered, you may have run into the if statements. So mostly for our Java, C, C++, C#, they all look something like this. So let's say if num1 is greater than 5, and then it would go do this. And then if you want to add in a second condition or an else statement, you would just write it like this. Now the thing about Python, it doesn't have the curly braces. Instead, Python does tabs. So they would look like, well, I'd have to let me write out the rest. So let's do a num1 is equal to input. Why can't I spell today? Okay. So we do enter a number, and then we'll have it do a condition where if num1 is greater than 3, and the thing with if statements, each line ends with colons. So in another way, the colon kind of acts as the then part. to these. In another language, real quick, if you ever learned Visual Basic or Visual Basic .NET or Visual Basic applications, it would look something like this. So it's less than 5. Probably shouldn't have erased the other ones, but just in case, I'll just throw them back on here. Okay. Okay, so back on the Python version, so here we would do print number is greater than 3. And then we can do an else. And we can do a number smaller than 3. And from here we can run this. And here we go. So it's asking us enter number. So let's put in 5. Wait, do terminal here. Okay, there we are. Okay, so we did 5. And actually, to make this look a little better, going back to what we covered last time, the escape characters. So we did this and tab. Now we run this again. Alright, there we are. Alright, so now enter 5. And, okay, why is it not... Oh yeah, forgot. Here we want to explicitly cast it. Now this should run as it should. There we are. Okay. So then we do 5, and we get the first condition, since it's greater than 3. So now let's try it with 2. And we should get smaller than 3. But then let's see what happens when we put in just 3. And that's where it kind of explodes. So what we want to do here is we want to give it greater than equal to. And we throw in another if then. So instead of doing nested ifs, Python has the ability of doing something called elif. So it's elif is still else if in the other languages. So now when we plug in 3, this should work. Hi, Josua's made it.
What's up, man?
Hey, welcome to session 4.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Hey, I was gonna eat real quick, and I was gonna hop on afterwards.
Okay, that works.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I've been doing a little bit of C++ recently too. So I think I'll be able to hop on.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I'll be back then.
Okay, so let's actually, now that we have the elif, let's pull off the others. And now okay, and now we get the else condition. Because we have one checking for greater than 3, one to less than 3, and then anything else that isn't part of these two conditions goes to the else statement. So right now, when we put in the equals, the first one's going to kick in. But if we don't, then it's just going to throw it over into the else statement. So then we can also do logical expressions to combine if statements as well. So say we wanted to do another little change here. So let me throw in a part down here. So let's do if num1. Okay, so if num1. So let's make it. Who wants to pick the numbers?
Is it between, you want to do 1 through 10, or you want to do like 1 through 100?
If you want.
Or it doesn't matter.
Okay.
You can do 10 or 5.
So let's do greater than 5. And now we can do AND statements. So this is AND. So this means if both conditions are satisfied, it'll do this. And then we have another one, and that is the OR statement, where either happens, and then we have the NOT that flips it and negates it. So in hardware, if we throw in a NOT gate, if it's on, it becomes off. If it was off, it becomes on. Right. So here we'll do 1 and then num1 less than 10. And then we'll do print. And then, yeah, well, let's do one where it's going to be so elif greater than 10. And then lastly, and then we do number is invalid. Right, so now let's comment these out. So select them, and you just press Control Shift. Control / and so now those are all commented, and now this should run without too much chaos. Okay, so we tested. So let's test the first one. So let's go with 7. Numbers within range. And then let's go with the funny number 24. And then lastly, let's go with 2. That's essentially this is essentially how you can do the two logical checks with one variable. Now if you want to do the OR statement, we do the pipe symbol. And that's on your / key. So if you press Shift /, that's how you get the pipe symbol, and that's the logical OR. Which really this won't change much, because now it's either or conditions will make this run true. So if we did 8 this time, we still get number within range, because even though it's still greater than 8 and then less than 10. And then let's try 10 for the heck of it, and we still get it. Because in this case, because even though this is looking for less than 10, 10 still greater than 5, so that's why this still comes out within range. So far, any questions?
All good so far.
Axel, you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now we cover a new interesting part, because back when I started learning Python, this wasn't around, but apparently between the last two big updates, Python finally got its own version of a switch statement. I found this out when I was getting ready to do session 1 back in October. It's like, oh, they got switch statements now. So let's experiment with that one. So then let's comment out this block. And then here we'll do there, remember how to implement. Okay, alright. Okay, actually, okay, I had to double check on how this thing. So instead of switch statement, it's called match case in Python. And the C++ version. Okay. Let me put it on here. So the C++ Java version will look something like this. Actually, let me put it in. So that's the C++ version of the output, and the C version of the output. And then the Java version. So now likewise, we'll set up the match case. Now we do num1, or match. That's how we start this. So match num1, and then we give it its case test cases. Let me pull these out. Goodness. Alright, so what this will do is it's going to go, each number that num1 now gets will print out a string, and each of the strings is just the word version of each number. Oh, forgot to make sure these were commented. There we are. Okay, what did I screw up this time?
Hey man, quick question.
Yeah.
You're doing both. You're doing both C++ and Python on, and you're running both of them on the same
Oh
file.
no! I commented them out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Yeah.
you're doing Python right now. Okay.
Yeah, we're doing Python. It's just what I do is that I show how, if you've known any of the other programming language, I show how they're written from the old language and how Python treats them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sometimes, yes, I do admit I forget to comment them out sometimes.
Thank you.
Okay, just was this back. Okay, let's see. Where the heck blew up this time?
Maybe you need a default in your switch statement.
Probably. And default according to Python is this. does not tell me what's broken. Is that the colons? Unexpected indent.
What do you need to do? Print on the in each case, like print 0, print 1.
Oh yeah. Because essentially what's supposed to happen is, at least it sets it to this and then pops out here. Okay, wait. I see what. Let's make another little data type that'll hold this.
Yeah, well, what about the mean? What about mean here?
Okay, let's see if. Huh. Unexpected indent. But there's nothing here. That's it. Oh, it's probably these. Hold on. Wait, it's still. There we go. Okay. Now I see what's going on. So it was still running the old version. So the way to get rid of any, if you run into a glitch like that, is to delete the instance of the process that shows up here. So you have the PowerShell copy, and then you have the Python one. So now this should let us do. So if we type in 0, we press enter, and switch statement prints out 0 in its Word form. And then we do it again. We do 1. And again, we do 5. Let's do 100 just for the heck of it. And we get not a number. So all the cases are working. And that's essentially how you do switch statements for Python now, or match case, how they're called here. Okay, so now, so that's it for conditionals, and now we go into loop structures, so iterations. So in Python, there exists while loop, for loop, just like the other languages. The while loop is pretty much the exact same thing as C, C++, Java, and the others. But it's written a little different, where in the others, so in C, C++, C#, and Java, it would look, you would start the statement as declare the control variable outside. That's where your counter would go. So it would look something, comment lines, here we go. For and then the braces. So this is the C++ Java version would usually look like. But now the Python version looks something like this. So what we'll do for this one, let's see. Okay, so how we'll do this one is we're gonna have the so it starts with 4, and then we're gonna have it call in range. So for num in range, and let's say we had it start from 0, and we have num1 now be the ending variable. And we're gonna have it print out each time. So comparing it to the from C++ and Java, here you have the I less than 10 or whatever your maximum of your loop would be, And instead here we have the in range, and the range arguments is pretty much the loop's counter. And the thing is, with range, you can actually set the start and end. And you can actually make it this. You can actually, if you wanted to make it count down, start from 10, set start to 10, and then set the end to 0. You could actually do it that way if you wanted to make it count down. But there's also a third argument in this the range function here. So you have start, you have the stop, and then you have the step. So if you don't give it step, it's just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and onward. But if you add in a step argument, you can actually make this jump. So right now I'll just run the for loop without the step function, the step argument. And now we run this. So let's say we want to make this thing run 15 times. And there we go. Starts at 0, and it just keeps going 1, 2, 3, all the way down to 14. And then it stops. So now let's add in a step function. And we'll do, see if we can do this. So now let's say we multiply everything by 2 for each function. And we'll do it by 10. We'll actually set this to 1. Okay. So when we make this, so let's make this, instead of an equation like that, let's make it 2. And let me try 10. So if we set the step value from 2 into 2, and we start from 1, we get our odd numbers. But if we set step function to 1, we get our regular numbers 1 through 9. So then let's see if we can do 3. And then, so then we get 1, 4, and 7. And now without step functions, but we can also tweak what will get printed out here. So let's do num times 2. We'll do 20. And we get our even numbers. So we got 2 through 38 just by punching in 20. So 20 became the max range, so where it'll stop. Starts at 1, and the step value, if you don't say anything, it'll be defaulted to 1. And now we have our now we have our even numbers. So you can do and then 2 times the number, add 1, you have your odds. Now you can also do incrementing. So we did this. Could do okay, so we could do say total. So print total, and then total here is incremented by each number. And before we do that, we initialize total to 0. So now we do, let's see if we can, so let's do 50. So just from starting setting it to 50, total is 0, and then starting from 1, it just starts incrementing bit by bit. So 1 plus starts from 1, and then so 1 plus 2, 3, 2 plus yes, and then it becomes, yeah, there you are. And then 3, then so for 3, then 4, then 5, 6, 7, and keeps going and going till 50. And at least for this part, that's much for the for next loop. There's more we can do with this, but I'm going to save that for when we start talking about list structures, list and tuple. And that's the for loop, and now we'll do the while. And let's at least let's start another file for this. We'll just call it meanwhile. I could have a better idea for a name. Okay. Okay. So like the for loop, you always want to make your control variable, make sure it's initialized outside. So for here, we'll start with making a variable called count. And then we'll do while count is less than 10. We end up with colon. We hit enter, and well, code like always does the indentation for us. And then we'll do okay, so then we'll do enter, we'll do name, and we'll call input. We'll just say enter and name. And then here we'll do an increment to the counter variable. Actually, for sanity's sake, let's make this 5. And then using this is similar to the print format style from C that you can also use ++, and even Java can use it, where you would have the little placeholders, %I, %D, %S, for when you're working with other number data types. So this is just a little placeholder. And then what happens here is that we'll do dot format count. And then you escape the loop. Should work. So we run this. Oh, actually, before we run that, let's do it. A little space like that. So. Okay. So this code is doing, as you can see, as long as the count hasn't reached 5, as long as it's below 5, it'll just keep asking for names. After that, on line 4, increase counter, and then print, okay, what's the name that was entered, and also what loop iteration you're on. So then we are 5, and then let's just do, and there you go. We exited 5, and we get the, oh, and actually, that's what we're going to do. There we go. So now we run it again, and then let's do, there you go, and so on. But also in loops, you can throw in if statements. So then let's say if name equals Bruno, we call a break statement. And what this will do is that this will terminate the loop structure no matter when it's on if this condition turns true. Here we don't need parentheses because we're not chaining out the variables. Here we use double equals. So now this should run. Likewise, let's put in a continue statement. So as long as Bruno's not put in, it just keeps going. And that's what continue does. So you can see, and then, cool. So as you can see right there, Bruno kicks in, and that breaks the loop. And that's essentially it. So that's what this little program does with the while loop. So far, any questions?
All good on my end for now.
Okay.
Same, I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay. So essentially that's it for the loops. So now we cover functions. Okay, so let's make one. We're just going to call this one functions1.py. And here we will call, so when you start doing functions with Python, the functions technically have to go first. So and there is here, when you start working with functions like you saw with if then and the loops, this is where you have to be very, very careful every space and every tab you do, because as you saw, any stray space or tab will throw the compiler to throw a big error if any of those indents are off. So one thing to point out is, compared to C, C++, and Java, Python natively doesn't have a main method or main function, but you can build one if you want to. How you do that is you add in this little phrase. Let's see if I can remember how that one worked, because it's been a while. Let's see, where is it? There we are. And then, so this is just so you can use the main function. If you want to still bring that back from C++ and Java's worlds, because here there's no default, but this piece of code will. So all this is doing is that when the Python interpreter runs, it's going to look for the first function, and that'll be whatever's called main. In doing so, here's how you write a Python function. So you type in def, which is define, and then we do main. And as you can see, there's already an indent there. So for this one, we're going back to what we did in session 2, where we had the calculator for the little equations. So here we'll want to do, so you're going to create an add function. This is overkill for this kind of thing, but best way to demonstrate how Python functions work. And then here we want to do return sum. So what we want to throw in here is we'll do the num1, num2 like before. Those will be our incoming arguments. And then here is num1 is equal to enter input, enter enter a second number. Alright, and now this is where we'll throw in the function call. And then back here on the function, we'll do sum is equal to num1 plus num2. And then that's indented, there we go. And then str, so we want to make sure these are casted into integers like this. go. Hold on. Okay. So then we have num1, num2, and now what we'll do is we're going to call the function we built up here. And how we do that is we'll have a sum is equal to add, and we put in num1, num2 as the arguments. And then we'll do a diff function, and that will have num1, num2 as well. And then product. Okay. So I'll make it subtract function, and then just like before, num1, num2 are the incoming arguments. Okay. And we'll make this a multifunction. And then def multi. And then lastly, def quotient. And we do num1, num2. And here we'll do quotient equals num1, num2. Now, one thing we'll double check using an if then is if num1 so if num1 is less than 1, so if num1 is greater than 0 and num2 is greater than 0, do the math and return quotient. Okay. Alright, hold on real quick. Let's see, how do I pause this? Okay, give me a few minutes real quick. Okay, I'm back. Alright, so to finish up the program, okay, come on. There we go. Okay, now why are... Oh, okay, I know it's wrong here. I see it. I put a space there where it shouldn't be. Okay, there we go. So now it stopped freezing. There we go. Now that works. So now we're just checking and making sure these are greater than 0, both numbers, because this will prevent... This is at least a primitive way of how to stop divide by 0. There is a more fancier way, and that I will leave for the next session. That will be the try-catch exception, which that one will account for pretty much. You can make it. You can configure it to where it can catch majority of errors that you're aware of. It tests those values before the errors happen, and if that happens, then it catches the error, but it won't kill the program immediately. And then let's throw in quotient here. Num1, num2. And there we go. So now we run this. Okay, I'm gonna clear the executions. Oh boy. Now what? Okay, what am I missing? Am I missing something here? Oh, that's why. Alright, put double quotes where I didn't need them. And there we go. Okay, so now we do enter number. So let's do 5. Oh, actually before that, I forgot the print statements. Which we can also now do, send them all into a print function too. And then we'll just do print statements like not enter number, sum of two numbers. And then we'll do sum, call sum here. And then just for a little bit of laziness. And then now we just throw in the function here for printer sum diff product and quotient. And that'll do it. So now we run the whole thing together. Let's eliminate some of the gaps here. Alright, so let's do 10 and 15. Okay, what blew up? Oh, let's change the name. Because then it's going to be like, wait, what are you trying to do here? Edition. So 10. Ah. Okay, 10, 15. There we are. So plug in the two numbers, and then it all gets passed to these the respective functions. And then once the calculations are done, they get returned back into the variables that did the function calls. And how you always write the function call is by the number of arguments you put in. So we have 2 arguments for each, and likewise each of the functions have 2 arguments. So then once the calculation's done, they get stored into the variables. So now all 4 of these variables hold their results, and then we just send them to the printer function and boom, prints them out. And that's pretty much it for this program. Any questions?
All good here.
Okay.
What is it if name equals main function do?
So what this will do. So if you notice,
There's line
if
at
you
the
notice,
very bottom.
right. So if you notice from our other programs, Python doesn't have natively a main method or a main function. Because if you've done C, C++, Java, they will have a main function. So in C Sharp and Java, it will look like public static void main, and then string args with an array. So this is the Java version of it. So it will look something like that. And C Sharp resembles this too. If you're doing C++ or original C, you would just have int main and that's all you would have. C++, it's also the same. So since Python doesn't have that, this tells the Python interpreter, start the program where the module starts with the name main. And then if you find it, call the main method, the main function. So that's all 34 and 35 do. So you'll only need to really use this if you really want to have a main function. It's technically not required, but if you want to keep a little bit of consistency between your programming languages, it's a handy tool to use with Python.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so today we've covered conditionals, we've covered loops, and we covered the basic functions. So now, I'm not going to give you another concept, but now we go into the Pocket Project 1. So, Pocket Project 1, if you saw from the subthread on the server, I created one, and it's using what Snappy wanted me to bring up. And that is Python's random function. So that'll be the last thing we cover, but also because this is going to be the core piece to the rest of the Pocket project. So you have your Pocket Project 1, and then there is technically a Pocket Project 0. And the Pocket Project 0, what I would like you to do, if you have kept your old homeworks from your earlier programming classes, regardless which language it may be, what I want to see you do is try to reverse engineer that same program, but now in Python. If you don't have any of your old homework files anymore, if you still kept your old textbook, whether hard copy or, ebook by whichever methods you went through the 7 C's of the internet to get said textbook, take one of the programming questions at the end of the chapter for loops and iteration, and then try to build that in the textbook's respective language. So if it was a Java textbook, write it in Java first. If it's a C++, was it C? Was it JavaScript? And then once you have that version written, try to now work that same problem in Python. So that's kind of your first little unofficial homework per se. So after you get that one done, that's where I would recommend try tackling Pocket Project 1. And if for the subthread, so to access the subthread, which Josué, you'll need the club members key.
I can message you after how to get it.
Okay. So, for those of you who already have access to the CyberDyne Club area and the Python Workshops thread, in the Workshops thread, if you click on if you click on the Python Workshops chat thread and then click on the little spool on the upper right. Hold on. Let me switch modes. Kind of wish I had one of those Elgato things. Okay. So if you do threads, here's the Pocket Project 1 subthread. So when you click this, it should open the subthread for Pocket Project 1, which I finally did write up something. And it's a simple one. So you'll be using functions, you'll be using conditions, you'll be using loop structures, and of course variables and inputs as well. So there's your first Pocket project ready to go. Next Python's workshop session. Next Python workshop session, I would say, might be will it be down for New Year's Day?
I don't know about that one, man.
Yeah, that one I'm busy. I'm working.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm not. That's why I asked too, because I'm working too, and right now, as you saw in the Python workshops thread, my job got busier. Now I know why my supervisor wasn't joking around about that. Because right now he's on medical leave, and essentially I got double promoted right now.
That's good, at least. That was good, man.
Yeah. Just wish I could get a second raise. I just got the first one approved. Yeah. Because it's nuts. Because right now a lot of stores are doing their end of the year inventories, and they're all trying to get it done December, and others are trying to get their first 2025 one set for January, and it's like,
yeah.
Even the high management, they're like, get ready, you're gonna have to build 6 of the package programs.
Damn.
Yeah. So that's what I was trying to see what day, because either we could do one next week on the 26th or 27th. We could do 26, 27, or 28. And if not, either the 3rd, the 4th, or the 5th.
I'd be down to do one before the New Year's. Let me check my schedule real quick. Give me 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible if you could record the session and then we could look at it whichever works for us, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
So you could record your own time? That way we're not,
Yeah, and actually, that's the one thing I should have mentioned. I actually have been recording these, and today I actually tested out something. Live stream mode.
Oh, I see.
So right now, while we've been doing this has been streamed to CyberDyne VESPA's YouTube and Kick accounts right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so this is the only one that's actually been live streamed. The others have only been recorded. This one's both.
Gotcha.
So far, my laptop's surviving. Yeah, this thing it's got an Intel embedded graphics chip in it, and I am wondering, it's holding. Because I would have used my gaming rig, but my gaming rig's handling another recording of a resin print I'm working on right now for a client.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, if you want, you could just, in my opinion, if you want, you could just record at your own time, and then whenever I have time, I could just look it over and just catch up type of deal.
Yeah.
Wait, I could do the 27th. You said you can do the 27th, or is that one of the days? You said
I
it was,
think I could do 27th. Because I know on the at least on the 27th, hopefully on daytime, I can get the package thing I have to have ready by the 28th.
Okay, up to you, man. I think I can do
Mhm.
28th as well. That's a Saturday, right? I mean, I can do that too.
Yeah, 28th
Up to you.
Saturday. Yeah, 28th Saturday. Because the part I'm kind of feeling bad for is the Tuesday Thursday crowd. Yeah, and it's hard doing this because one of the signups won it Tuesday morning. I don't know if that's because of class specifics or because they had work also.
Tuesday morning at what?
They wanted 10 a.m. and I go to work at 10 a.m. Well, at least for the rest of this month and most of January, I'm going out. I've been asked to go in at 9. So
Yeah.
yeah. But besides these, what other eventually what other workshops would you guys want to see for in general from CyberDyne?
By chance, man, I think it'd be kind of cool. Or actually, I don't know how you feel about it, but I think I've been really trying to get into like programming like microcontrollers.
Yes.
So maybe like anything with like I'm not sure. Do the rest of you guys go to Sac State or something, or
No,
like,
no.
what do you guys,
CyberDyne VESPA is part of Sac State. Just right now we've been kind of stuck as ghosts the last year and a half.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, maybe something with like the STM or something. I mean, it wouldn't be anything crazy. I just do something, something like that.
And a few of my longtime friends, we were talking the other day because one of them works. Well, both of them pretty much now work in San Jose. One of them is an RF engineer. The other's the other one's an embedded hardware engineer.
Oh, cool.
And we were talking about that of potentially trying to bring the other side, because the other side of what CPE really does on the hardware end. Because most of the classes at Sac State, they don't teach you everything. So we were discussing how to get a validation system working with Verilog, more projects with the STM32, which on that part we they also brought up the Rust programming language.
Oh.
And Rust does a lot for microcontrollers, which it does run on the STM32.
Do your friend the RF guy? Would I know him too by chance or no?
No. Eventually, if we try and do a oh my God. I haven't eaten dinner, so that's starting to affect me now. If we did a CyberDyne alumni night, there may be a chance you guys will finally get to meet him.
Okay.
His name's Corey. He goes by Quasar. He's been our longtime EEE Guardian admin. So when we first started, he was the one EEE we had. And he'd help with everyone taking the EEE classes. They got stuck. I tell them that normally they ping me because, I'm the guy who built the place. Well, at least started it. So I always tell them if it's not EEE 174 or at least Engineering 17, it's like get Quasar. Go get Quasar. So I'd summon him, and because he was working and he had his internships, he'd pop in around about 7 at night.
Yeah. Makes sense. Right. Cool. Yeah.
Okay, so we got one hardware request. Snappy, Axrill, how about you guys?
I'm okay with going with the flow right now because I already when you showed me the if and else statement that made sense more. But I'm cool so far.
I think I'm fine.
Okay. But also on the subject of microcontrollers, the Python Series 3 does cover Circuit Python. It's not as powerful as the STM32, but you can at least make simple little automation stuff. It won't be as lightning fast as Arduino and the STM32, because the 32 blows both the Circuit Python and Arduino C out of the water. But okay, so back on the last bits for tonight. So tonight we do finally our last program of the night, which, as requested by Snappy, Python's random function. Okay, so this is probably getting ahead into what the next session would cover, but it's better time than ever for this, because either way, Pocket Project 1 will be also using the random function as well. And actually, hold on, this should be Python random. Why didn't it take the rest of the name? There you go. Okay, so let's see. So if you've come from the other three languages, you've noticed when you start a program, whether it be C, C++, or Java, you always had to bring in certain parts to the program so your basic functions would even work. As you can already tell, Python doesn't need that from the get-go. But when you want special functions, that's when we get into importing libraries. And common ones, so I know right now we've only done like basic algebra, but if you ever wanted to do more advanced mathematics, you could call in the math library. And this one will let you do sine, cosine, tangent, everything trigonometric, and more advanced functions. Will it do calculus-y stuff? The math one on its own, no. But for that one, for advanced math, you would call in the SciPy library. Eventually, we will cover SciPy. The one thing I really want to do is see if and when the Data Science Club could, do a crossover workshop. So I cover the basic libraries, but then they'll go into more what can you really do with SciPy, Matplotlib, and NumPy, which those are 3 of the big 7 data science big data libraries. And that's their area of expertise. I can do Matplotlib, NumPy at minimum. As you've seen on the Python workshop chat, I did try to help the Civil Engineering 101 students a couple years ago, as to the best of my ability, because even everyone was lost, and I'm like, I will try. This is civil math, so whole different creature. Because in civil engineering math, it's still calculus 2 and a bit of DE. But it gets the equations get pretty long, so there's that. But hopefully I'll talk to the current president, vice pres about maybe for spring we could do the co-op workshop between CyberDyne and Data Science Club. But the other thing I gotta check in is if my successor is back at it, because he's been on leave for a while, and without him we can't even start reactivation. Because, well, on the other part, we are needing a treasurer still in order to come back online. But anyway, back on the subject of libraries. So we have import math, import sci-fi. This is just an example. But for tonight, here comes for random numbers. You do import random. There we are. So then what we do now, we called import random, so now we have this library to use. And now we create a variable called random num. And then we'll assign it random. So we call the random library. Random.randint. So this will actually give us, so this calls the random library and then calls its function to create a random integer. And then similar
I'm
to...
sorry to interrupt. I don't think you're sharing the screen, or are you? Sorry.
I forgot to switch. Hold on.
You're
Sorry.
good, you're good.
Okay, there we go.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, build one more Python program, Python random, and then just type in the import random. So import random brings in the random library, and then on line 3 we're now creating a variable that's gonna hold a value that calls the library and calls the sub function for random integer. That's all I've done so far. Okay, so then what we do now in the parentheses, similar to the range function we used for the range function we used with the for loops. So now we can do 1, and then we can set this to max number of 20. And then we just print what's here. So now when we run this, we get 3, run it again, we get 18, 20, 7, 13, 19, 8, 3, 10, 8, 11, and so on. But as you can see, each of the runs, it's going to be limited to whatever you put in the range. Now, the other ways you can do this you can also seed one of these. And what happens here is that we can do a random dot seed, and let's give it 24. And what the seeds will do, these actually kind of lock the random in place. As you can see, I'm getting 13 coming out. But besides integers, you can also do, let's comment that out. You can also do float data types as well. So we just change rand int to rand float. Oh wait. So actually it's not rand int, it's just we call random again. So random. And this now creates float results. What blew up? Oh yeah, and random doesn't have arguments, so there we go. And now we get very obscure decimals out of the float random. Then we have uniform random. So we set this back to have ranges and change random to uniform. So now we got decimals, but we also have whole numbers with it. Okay. And essentially that's pretty much it for random numbers. At least for an introduction of it. So far, any questions?
No, all good. I'm actually gonna have to hop off, but if you're still on, I'll catch what I missed on Kick though, since you have it on there.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure. Thank you. Have a good night though.
Yep, you're welcome. When I hold the next session, as always, I'll put the little when to meet links on the emails, and of course here the little the Discord events here, and then of course over on Misa put the little Taco Reacts things too.
Okay, for sure. Thank you again.
Yep, you're welcome. Alright. Anyone else have any questions?
No. I think I got it.
Okay. So do you feel confident with the Pocket project?
Yeah.
Okay. So at least for the rest of this week until I send out the notification for it, try to get the Pocket project, try to get it done at least before the next session begins. And if you get stuck, I'm going to at least have the next session we just go over the Pocket project together. And also, at the same time, if you've been able to reverse engineer any of your old homeworks to Python, that's another thing. So pretty much it'll be like review and show and tell for the next one. And then we'll start going into arrays will be next. So the list data structure, how it's called here. Yeah, other than that, for tonight, I'm pretty much done. And my guess was right. We'd be done by 9:30 for this one.
Cool, man. Thank you. Yeah, I'll keep reviewing it too. And I'll message you. I'll message you in a bit about the code thingy.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure, man. Hey, thanks again, bro. Yeah, I'll definitely hop on for the next one too. I was excited I missed the first one.
Yeah, no, you're okay. So you've done Python before?
Not really. No, I've been doing C++ recently.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you, dude. I've had a couple interviews, and like, I thought I was gonna be doing. I was interviewing for hardware positions, but they all kind of asked me coding.
Mhm.
So that was fucking frying me, and I was like, dude, hell no. So like, I was kind of mad about that, but it's okay, you know. So I'm gonna
Did they bring up
this break.
Paramount?
No, funny enough, no. They asked me programming like questions like, oh, like, well, they asked me what I was doing. Like, I talked to them about like my 174 class, what I'm doing, whatever. Like, oh, what do you do this, and this, and so it was. I wouldn't say it was probably anything too crazy. They asked me, about pointers. They asked me about
Yeah. That's the original C language.
yeah. I know it's C, but I wanted to get I want to get started with C++ first.
Yeah.
I've heard people say that C++ is better to start off with.
It is.
Um,
It is, but there's some goodies that the original C can do that ++ you would have to call several libraries to do, and one of those is the talking on low level.
Yeah.
So you can talk to the assembly level through C using inline assembly.
Yeah.
Which not only helps embedded systems, but that's how every operating system is deep down inside. That's what CPE/CSC 159 covers.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just trying to get more into that. I have an interview coming up for Keysight.
Oh, nice!
So,
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. It should be my guy. Well, the guy that I know him because of ship and all that. He told me that the interview is probably coming in like January. So like, you know what? I want to grind a bit of coding before I have that interview so I can. The hardware stuff, I'm not feeling too bad about it. Like, I'm Triple E, bro. Like, that's all we do. So I'm not feeling too bad about that, but I'm feeling more like, iffy on coding. So I'll be getting on that. I'm gonna try to get a certificate before I get the interview. Not really to show off, but like just to kind of make myself a little more confident, going in there. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. Yeah, I downloaded VS Code and all that stuff. What was that?
Oh no, what type of programming certificate?
It's a basic one. It's just Google Basic. What is it called? Google for Education C++.
Oh, they have one for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that a good one? Would you say?
The Google certificates, I haven't heard much bad things about them. So I'd say they're worth it.
Yeah. Do you have another like C++ one you would recommend me? You try to work through.
C++. Okay. An actual certification? Not so sure. The one way you could get a certification. Okay. You've heard of Udemy, right?
Yes.
Okay. Udemy's one, and then you have Coding with Mosh. Both of them offer certificates. And with Mosh, at least if you get his membership subscription, yes, it's $30, but you get access to every workshop he's done, and he's done ++ and Sharp. There you could get certificates.
Mosh, like MOSH.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look at that in a bit.
Yeah. Mainly with Mosh, I've been going into JavaScript with his. JavaScript and how to get better with CSS. That's what I've been using Mosh's workshops. And Udemy, it's me just trying to get better at math, self-learn engineering 45 and 30. Yeah, that's what I've been using Udemy mostly for.
I'm gonna keep grinding out then. Thanks, Kimber. Yeah, I'm trying to get. I don't know. It's getting me frustrated, but I'm working through it, and I see myself getting better at it already. I feel a lot more comfortable than I was like 2 weeks ago already, and I feel a lot better about that. But still, I know it's a long way, but I'll keep grinding.
Yeah. The thing to point out, though, the pointers thing, have you done arrays in C++ yet?
What was that?
Have you done arrays in C++ yet?
Arrays? No.
Okay. So, C.
Arrays. Okay.
Yeah. So C and C++ have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're when they were created, they're 6 years, about 6 to 8 years apart. So C came out in 1967, and C++ came out around about almost 10 years later.
Yeah.
And so C is the one that started the whole object-oriented thing. So how you create classes, which that'll be in maybe another session or two here for the Python series, where you can create everything as objects. And you have you can make super classes, and then you can make smaller classes that inherit stuff from a super class, so you don't have to keep rewriting things like crazy. And then you can actually assign things to have attributes. Best example of object-oriented, video games. It's purely object-oriented programming.
Okay.
And dating all the way back to the 70s in the Atari age, it's pretty much object-oriented. Just the only thing is, in the Atari days, most of that was coded in C. That's why when you play old school video games, the CPU players are very, very vicious, and that's because they were written in C, which most likely is calling some inline assembly in there too. If you ever played Robotron 2084 at any of the arcades and you reach level 3 and the moth bots come after you.
I don't think I found that one before, but I see what you're going.
Yeah, because when you start level 3, the moth bots, if you've never encountered them before, so yeah, this was back 10-year-old Zero playing Robotron 2084 the first time. It was just like crazy because it was only 1, but that's level 3. Once you get to level 6, now you have to deal with 4 hives of the moth bots. And once those hives start deploying, now you're dealing with 12 of these things with all the other enemy robots in that whole stage. And the moths will not only fly at you, they drop bombs.
Oh my gosh, that sounds crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this was classic Midway, so 1980s arcade games, which hopefully the Scandia and the Golfland in Sacramento should have one of those machines still running. Good news, 25 cents.
Yeah, sure, man. Yeah, I'll keep grinding it out. I'll figure something out. Thanks, man. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, if you have any C++ questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, it's a really big help, man. I'm really glad that you're doing this.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Alright, then, yeah, I'm heading out then. Good luck, man. Good night.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, 'cause I'll see you after Christmas then.
For sure.
How's it going?
See ya. Cesar, you made it.
I think I got the project done.
Wait, you built the whole Pocket project?
Yeah, he's like, I think so. I mean, I don't know if I did like the whole like complete the whole assignment, but I think I got like a deal of it done.
Oh, you mean me?
Well, it's like similar to like one of the CS15 projects I did that I remember doing.
Okay. Yeah. Real quick, Cesar, glad to see you made it. Although we just kind of wrapped up for the night.
Oh, that's fine. I just wanted to just chime in and just kind of see what it was about. This is my first time ever attending, so.
Yeah. If you're seeing my screen share, today we covered ifs, conditional statements, iterations, and functions. And then I also gave a mini Pocket project. So it's based off CSE 15 and MIS 15, which is in the club area. So actually, let's see. Did you get? Okay, you still have to get the key. Where the Python area is. Hold on. We have it here in chat history somewhere. Yes, here it is.
Is it under general? I just need
Yeah.
to scroll up.
It's here in general, and just it's been kind of buried back up there. Here we are. Okay.
Alright. Do you know what date it might have been posted on?
And I just posted here on general. Shortcut will take you back to that post. It's a post back from like October.
Oh, okay. I see the shortcut. Thank you.
Yeah. And I should mention the entire MIS series is actually housed on our server 2. So the entire MIS program, we have it built onto server 2, ready to go. Just hoping to get some applicants for our apprenticeship program so we can get finally some MIS admins to help keep an eye on the MIS area over there.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. Actually, if you don't mind screen sharing, that way